Whoa! Hello, it's Podcast Maximus here for a spooky Christmas special. What's that other holiday?
It's all the same.
Yeah, just a sort of midwinter squash-eating kind of festival. I am Tom McNally, and with me is Marian Hilditch.
Hello.
And Stuart Webb.
Hello, yes, this is actually me. I was thinking if I had chance, sort of got somebody else to come in, dress up, and I would have sat by the side of the computer's microphone, doing the talking, and then at the end revealed that it was somebody else under the mask. But you just have to imagine I did that instead.
Well, maybe next year, you know, there's always another Halloween, they say.
This isn't a double bluff. That's not what's going to happen at the end of the episode. Don't get excited.
Oh, but Stuart, I'm sure our listeners know your voice very well.
I'm not sure what I sound like through the... I should say that this is, of course, as you all know, Daniel Craig's Day of the Dead costume from Spectre. I hope he wasn't drooling as much inside his mask as I am inside mine. It might have to come off at some point, but so we'll see how it goes.
Yes, so this is a visual Podcast Maximus. You may be listening to this as a regular podcast, or you may be watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out on some things, but we will try to be as descriptive as possible.
And this is a very special episode in another way, because we have used you, the listener/viewer, to create content for us in the spirit of the times.
Yes, indeed. So you have voted for your scariest Transformers moments, plus some extra things that we'll get towards the end of this episode. And we are here to present to you the scariest moments in the entirety of the Transformers franchise as voted by you.
And I should say thank you to everyone who voted and liked to share the tweets as well. They were very popular tweets. I think they're probably our most successful ones ever. So clearly people like to be terrified by Transformers, and they've been waiting for this moment for years.
And if you don't like it, then you've only got yourself to blame.
Yes, like the American election, this will prove that democracy is bunk.
So if perchance this is the first time you're listening to Podcast Maximus, so if you've randomly come across us on YouTube, we are what we like to call an indie podcast that talks about Transformers, comics mostly, but not exclusively. And you can find us on Twitter at Podcast Maximus, or on Facebook, or you can find us on the TF Archive website. Plus, you know, all your favorite podcast platforms where you can listen to our previous episodes.
Aha! You can find us individually on Twitter as well. Should we tell them that?
No, don't tell them that.
Okay, good. All right. No. You can find me on @TerrorMcNally. Marian, where can they find you?
You can find me at Morta on Twitter.
And you can find me at Inflatable Dalek. And if you haven't heard before and you want to listen to an old episode, I would recommend the Nick Roach interview, which you'll find by searching Podcast Maximus Nick Roach. Because I don't remember the episode off the top of my head, but I think his name's going to be coming up a fair bit as we go along. So that's.
Do you think Nick Roach has anything to do with Halloween? Do you think he's got any kind of Halloween products he'd maybe want to be associated with? I don't think so.
No new comics coming out, is it?
No, that doesn't sound like him.
No, I don't know, but there is this thing coming out. Is it called Parenthood?
Oh yeah, Parenthood is pretty scary.
Oh, he's done a remake of the Steve Martin film. I believe he didn't send us a review copies of hot solicitations like this.
Anyway, if after Halloween you're still craving for something scary, check out Nick Roach's new comic called Scarenhood. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Scarenhood anyway. It's a play on Parenthood, okay? Just go look for it.
It's basically coming out next week, so it's a bonfire night special comic now rather than a Halloween one.
Yes, exactly.
Oh wow, yeah, not enough bonfire night themed comics. It's pretty much just V for Vendetta, and I think that's it. So
No.
without further ado, we shall go through the scariest moments of Transformers history, decided by about 230 people, I guess. Starting with one of my favorites. Woo! Now I'm going to use my Warlock powers to share the screen.
Oh, we've never done this before,
Oh,
so it's
God,
an exciting first podcast Maximus.
Yeah. All right. So, cast your mind back, viewer, listener, to 1985. And if you are reading a taped together Marvel Comics annual featuring the Transformers characters, then you may remember that the Dinobot Sludge, you know, that big stupid dinosaur thing, he had a kind of, you know, interspecies sort of scaly relationship with this blonde lady, and she would use that affection to, you know, get things from him that she wanted. But that was fine. He was cool with it. But you know, it was generally above board until that fateful day in 1985 when she appeared and offered him, you know, physical affection and closeness. And when he was at his most vulnerable, Sludge, the big silly dinosaur thing, she ripped off her face and used laser beams from her eyes to fatally destroy his brain. And then it turned out that Megatron had a kind of like a Beano box with a wire sticking out of it, and he was really the blonde lady. And then they went home together, and Sludge is dead, and nothing would ever be the same again.
Oh my God! And nobody ripped this off for any movies ever.
Oh, where someone who seemed to be, a
blonde woman tries to kill somebody and
Why would they do that? That's so unfair.
I know.
I wouldn't do that if I was a blonde woman.
That's why you're not a blonde woman, Tom.
No, I know.
Aesthetic down.
They never let me.
Actually, when I read this as a kid, I thought that was supposed to be Circuit Breaker under the mask.
Oh.
So that's my contribution of that story.
Well, I mean, this story is full of it is literally a story about nightmare fuel. They're all having nightmares. You know, from Megatron getting like bisected in a way that would never happen again in Transformers. To Optimus Prime getting all his chest all burst out and he's dead in a pile. Grimlock gets smashed apart by Starscream and his chest's all open, and Snarl gets beaten, and Slag very slowly sinks down into tar. It's really, this was very upsetting and very exciting, and I dig it out every year around the time the clocks go forward, so I can enjoy it all over again.
And can I ask, who is this written by?
This story was written by that man, Simon Furman, who writes many Transformers comics, and it was drawn by that other man, Jeff Sr.
I guess that explains the misogyny.
Yes, yeah, the idea that a lady may be secretly not what she seems, and using that in order to disadvantage you in some way.
But sounds scary.
The latest Simon Furman story had Grimlock just deciding to kill himself because he'd had enough. So.
Oh, spoilers, Tom. I only came out yesterday.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I feel my telling of it's better maybe than the comic.
Well, speaking of that man, whose name maybe could have 30 times during this podcast, unlike Tom, I don't have a slideshow for mine because I don't know how to do it. He's a very technical man, Tom. He luckily loves one technical community. I am going into Time Wars, which is from issues 199 to 205 of the UK comic, drawn by various artists such as Dan Reed and Andrew Wildman, Robin Smith. This was clearly a story that had an effect on a lot of people as they were growing up, because there were 3 or 4 different things that got votes. So I've condensed them all into a big, swirly time storm of just one, which is based around 3 things, mainly. First, the brain leeches that, when the characters are trapped in limbo, sit atop their head, placing them in nightmare worlds. They're especially scary because Skins, one of the victims, had been in there for like 2 years, and the monsters he was dreaming about gained physical existence through his dreams. That's basically your nightmares come to actual life. Oh, I can see that. Tom's now doing a slideshow for mine just to show off.
I have this one.
So that's sort of a good floating. That's not from Time War, folks. That's from an earlier issue that you're in. So,
No, but they're gooier.
Have you ever 2 things for Time Wars, all based on one character, Galvatron? First of which was when he had half his face blown off by Roadbuster. Some would say something that happened to Roadbuster many years later was poetic justice for his head inflicting damage. Yes, props as well. The Galvatron gets shot in the face, half his face comes off, his eyeball is hanging out, and he goes back. I would do this family appropriate. If you could watch with a kid, he goes crazy, I'll say. He goes a little nuts, a little bit wacky. Even more so than he was before, and that's when the sort of all horror dramatic climax of the story kicks off. But then it gets even grislier at the end, when like a modern day Canute, that's what the script says, if it calls him a Canute, in the comic itself, that's acceptable. He's standing in front of a great big ass time storm that rips off his skin, basically. He is dismembered on panel. His eyeball, remaining eyeball, goes flying out his skull. His head helmet comes off. His metal flesh is removed, leaving just a skeleton, but then disintegrates into it wind like ash. Meaning, of course, Galvatron can never appear in the Marvel comic again because he's definitively dead at that point. And clearly, we see Rowan's shocked, horrified, and traumatise many of our listeners from the. It's a collectively terrifying story. I wonder if Tom is now ripping his flesh off to demonstrate that, because he's not very still in the background there. But that's Time Wars. That's you can rest that pumpkin, Tom. The scary conclusion to the 100-odd issue Galvatron arc.
Oh, I remember my experience of Time Wars is that I had the collected comics, and I had the story up to the point where Galvatron gets his face blown off, and then he like comes at and then I never found out what happened. I think I found out in like a text story in an annual that he got sucked into a big time thingy.
Oh, so you didn't even get as far as the canoe?
No, I didn't get to Canute. No, well, wait, because that image was in an annual. It was like, don't lose your annual.
Oh, you are kidding.
So I pieced all these things together.
Right, we are moving on to something a little bit more contemporary. Our third scariest moment is The Everlasting Voices, number 3. Lost Light, issue 18. And this is the moment when our heroes are on what they think is cyber utopia at the time. And all of a sudden they are visited by all their old crewmates, except they are all Spark Eaters. Dun dun, cliffhanger. Who could have done such a thing? Of course, there is a lot going on in the background, and we find out a lot more about it in the next issue. And who could have done such a thing? Where our heroes try to avoid killing their actual friends and not getting killed in the process. They do manage, don't worry, it's all going to be fine in the end. But it is such a big cliffhanger at the time because we've never seen anybody being cured of spark eatery before. So it very much appears to the reader that our old friends are all dead. They're not, spoiler warning. In fact, spoiler warning for this whole episode. You should probably not be listening to this if you haven't read any of this. We should have probably said that at the beginning.
I don't know. This is the one day of the year where spoilers are allowed, according to my religion.
That's Mormonism, isn't it?
Yeah, I was born a Mormon. What, got a problem with that?
However, speaking of actual deaths.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Wait.
Oh.
Good segue. I was. Whoa, actual deaths now. Well.
You're on some kind of weird. Oh no, you're okay now.
Yeah, good. All working great. So this guy, have you met this guy? He's like this kind of funny, kind of silly, sort of shouty man. And he gave us all a good time. But then in 1986, in Transformers the movie, he kind of, I don't know, I think he went a bit too far, actually. Within about 10 minutes, he's killed almost most of the speaking roles of the first two seasons of Transformers, including this particularly horrific bit when poor Prowl, he gets shot in the heart, I guess that is. It gets shot right in the heart, and then he vomits up his own guts right there for everybody to see. And then they just kind of casually step over all these bodies, and Megatron just commits some summary executions. This is like minute 7 of a theatrical film, and then undeterred by his accomplishments so far, not one to rest on his laurels, he goes and pops one right in Prime's chest, and that's over with. And this is, as I guess, lodged in a lot of people's memories as a terrifying moment when what was a harmless, funny TV show became a kind of endurance of misery and consequences.
As it is remaining till this day.
Yeah. So the way I remember it, the scariest moment in Transformers the movie was this bit when Hot Rod jumps off a cliff, and then we get this weird close-up of his face. I honestly couldn't watch. I watched that movie I wore out of the Betamax tape, Transformers the movie, but I could never look directly at this bit. Look.
What is happening? Does he have lips, or what is going on?
Oh yeah, that's a weird. Maybe that's what makes it so uncanny. The nose is weird, and his lips that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because look, that's wrapping round, but then this is clearly like the underside of what is like a lipless mouth.
Wow, you've ruined Transformers the movies, everyone there, Tom.
Yeah, ghastly.
Would it be better if you had nostrils?
Maybe. Yeah, I want to see up Hot Rod's nose. Just once.
Teeth.
I want to check out his teeth. I want to look up his nose.
Like a normal Transformer in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Like, this came up in obviously a lot of the... Because we did also ask you if you have a scary childhood memory of Transformers. And this did come up there a few times. A few of you were clearly quite traumatized by this. But is it horror? Is It's trauma, clearly.
Mm.
That's such a precise difference.
Yeah, Marian, talk us through. Why is this not horror?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm asking you because it's not horror, is it? It's drama.
Yeah.
It's like your favorite characters are getting killed. It could be a sci-fi drama where your favorite characters are getting killed. It could be soap opera.
Yeah.
Suddenly everybody's getting murdered.
I mean, it's almost matter of fact in the shuttle scene. It's like those guys don't even have names. They're just dead.
I'll say the smoke coming out of Prowl's mouth, that's horror. That always messed me up when I was a kid.
Yeah, the smoke is pretty bad.
It's like the moment he saw the John Barber writing at him and he just vomited all his innards.
So there's a bit of body horror is what we're saying in the finest Transformers tradition.
Ah.
In fact, I will very quickly tell you why Transformers the movie directly horror-related story.
Yeah.
Which is when we were kids, my granddad made us a pirate copy of Transformers the movie. I believe he used to rent them at the official tapes, rent us a copy of them. But the tape he copied it onto before that had Nightmare on Elm Street 3 on it, which is a slightly longer film. So when we were sitting there watching the Transformers the movie, he sat with the end credits. You know, I don't even think you wanted to record it, but you don't turn it off once the end credits started. You can watch the last 10, 20 minutes of an 80s typical horror film. There's violence and blood and gratuitous nudity. So, you know, my background, it's a definite horror film.
Did you keep playing that bit over and over, those 10 minutes? Was this like your entire horror collection?
I can't remember. I think you watch it with your family. You don't have control of a video player when you're a kid.
You weren't doing it right, Stuart.
That movie's just a horror film, though.
Okay, you've convinced me. I am prepared to accept this within the horror category.
Stuart, what would happen, do you think, if instead of one VHS tape being of fear, if there was an entire population centre of fear?
Well, that's an excellent segue, Carl, to the perfectly scripted part of our next part of our show, which is from, I did write this down to get the exact details. So I've got a new tablet, so just not quite used to it yet. As I said, perfectly scripted. Yes, it is the City of Fear. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong bloody thing. Sorry. It's City of Fear for 164 and 165 of a Marvel UK comic, written by that man, as we're finally recording him, and drawn by another man, Dan Reed.
Yay!
And it is the Transformers zombie comic. The comic basically Nick Roach read, and it came to write his spotlight copy. He said, I'll just do that again. As it was a nice idea at the start of the show, now we've turned it on him. That's sort of way we roll. But City of Fear is a straightforward up zombie story. It is the idea that because the Transformers have been fighting for 4 billion years, their planetary surface is covered in dead robots. And if somebody could reanimate those robots, they would have an unstoppable army of brain-dead zombie creatures that rise up out of the ground and they get punched from the stomach. They grab a guy at the start in the traditional horror style. And right at the end of that two-parter, Ultra Magnus and his team, that includes flywheels, that's our Tom's wavy flywheels right there, are surrounded by an army of zombies that come to pounce on them. And that is the cliffhanger of that two-part story. Much like the Spark Eaters later on, actually. There is an base. I'm not saying that both Nick Roach and James Roberts ripped off the one stories separately at different times. I mean, they have. But in the subsequent issues, there's an about that fact that these are reanimated Autobots, and Ultra Magnus wants to save them and not kill any of them until he forgets he wants to do that 2 years later, and he's just disappointed he didn't get to kill more of them. It's a slightly inconsistently written story at times. But it's Dan Reed. He was like the Livio Ramondelli of his day. he's the artist people either really like or they really dislike. And I remember really like Catherine for both of them. And he is especially suited to zombie Transformers. He's eccentric when he draws his robots with their bendy bodies and long nails. So when it comes to a zombie, he's in hog heaven. He's faced with a cross of robot zombie entrails. And it's just an incredibly exciting visual story. Introduced lots of things that end up popping up later, like Flame is the main villain, who you'll remember for his hugely significant role in the IDW comics.
Wow, I'd completely forgotten that.
Yeah, so Flame comes from the mad Autobot scientist. First of many mad Autobot scientists. So he's definitely an influence on many areas that came later. And it's well focused on the opening two-parter drawn by Dan Reed, that whole six-part story, or three two-part stories flowing to each other. It's full of zombie goodness, generally. You have a whole sequence of Krypton marching through a zombie army and stomping on them. You have Impactor, who has come back from the dead as a zombie, with half his face missing again. There's a lot of face missing stuff in our conversation here. Impactor comes back from the dead as a zombie, so he can then kill himself again, like Spock did in Star Trek 2, right? Just get into a radiation room and melt him. If you want to see zombie Transformers, if you want to see mad scientists, if you want to see the leaders of wreckers die like Spock, that is the Transformers horror comic for you, my friends.
Transformer zombies? That's a strange combination. Marian, that can't come up again, do you think?
Yes, let's switch those topics around, shall we? So, zombies. Where else have we seen those? As voted by you, one of the most scary things you've ever mentioned. Oh no, Tom, switch. Transformers Prime and zombies. So there's been different votes for different things, but I'm gonna link them all up, okay? So one of the scariest things you've all mentioned was Breakdown's death in TF Prime. Which sees poor Breakdown being taken down by Arachnid and dissected, and then later on being used by Silas as his bodysuit. If that wasn't bad enough, we then move on to one of my personal favorite TF Prime episodes, the zombie episode, also known as Thirst, where Paul Breakdown / Silas / zombie bot manages to infect pretty much the entire crew of the Decepticon spaceship with a lot of hilarity between, Starscream and, I've forgotten his name.
What colour is he?
Red.
Knockout,
thank you. And Knockout, who are definitely not in love at all. They're just friends. And one of the most memorable endings in TF Prime, which is Arachnid on the moon, having been sadly infected by the zombie virus, drinking her own insecticons for sustenance. Which is really quite a genuinely scary moment in Transformers Prime. The zombie episode on the whole is pretty comedic. There are moments like Knockout. Why am I having a blank today? There's moments like Knockout saying, shoot them in the head, and Starscream going, why? And he goes, because that's what they do in Earth movies, and him shooting them in the head and like nothing happening. And then he just goes for the spark, and it's like that's how you do it. It is, if you haven't seen it recently, just put it on Halloween. It's just like the perfect episode to watch. If you've never seen it, you absolutely must. I haven't really spoiled it, don't worry. Even if you are spoiled by it, you're still gonna enjoy watching it. So high recommend. But yeah, Arachnid on the moon, one of the most voted for scary moments. Which then leads us to our next segment, which is Not really related at all. Tom?
Yeah, go on, segue, master.
Well, hang on, let me just put that thing there. And so, imagine, if you will, a cat. And imagine, if you will, a sort of weevil thing. And they're friends. But, you know, they both get into weird stuff, and sometimes that weird stuff, you know, it doesn't mix together well. They're not hobbies that should really be in the same room. And Ravage likes sneaking around places he shouldn't be, and Bombshell likes injecting people with these kinds of little mind worms, a bit like Star Trek 2, I guess, that make you do things that Bombshell wants you to do. But here's the thing. If you chuck Bombshell at Ravage is where he's not supposed to be. Bombshell's got mind control, little worms. And you chuck them at each other, right? Something weird happens. Because if Bombshell's being mind controlled at the time, now Ravage is being mind controlled, you get sort of feedback loop. And anyway, the cat gets lobotomized and his eyes melt. So watch out.
There's a lot of eye horror.
I've just grabbed my rabbit.
Oh, how's his eyes?
They look fine.
Solid?
Yeah.
Not a sort of wispy plasma.
No Bombshell around, that's why.
So,
Yeah, well, go
it's his
have this guy.
vertebrae that's a problem.
So he's always going for people, isn't he?
Yeah.
This little weevil.
It's not good, is it?
No, it's like you try and eat your porridge, you pour yourself a big thing of porridge, and then what's ruined it? Weevils.
It's a lesson to us all.
Yeah.
They should just keep out of our biscuits, is what I say.
Yeah, keep out of the biscuits, Bombshell. Jesus Christ.
Maybe if you gave him a biscuit, he wouldn't be so evil. Instead of hoarding all the biscuits.
Right. If we could put all the biscuits, who would be good for that? We could put them in the back of Ultra Magnus or Bulkhead. They're not real, though, are they?
They're not neither is Bombshell, though, so it's a hypothetical.
Okay. But speaking of little animals that turn into cassettes sometimes, there are also scary moments involving those.
Yes, I'm glad you qualified that with sometimes there. I remembered that Dark of the Moon Laser Beak does not turn to a cassette. Yes, our first and I think only moment from the main films, which I think probably said something about our the audience of our interests. Basically, nobody put Michael Bay as the scariest thing about Transformers. They were all incredibly restrained there.
I mean, we're 13 years into this. There's a certain amount of surrendering that I think has taken place.
Well, Tom, let me help you to surrender willingly to horror of the Dark of the Moon.
Oh, thank you.
I think actually it's probably my favourite of the Bay films, even though I think the first one is a better film. Because it's probably they've got completely mad, but they're still reasonably well made and well paced. Haven't gone totally off the rails yet. It's entertainingly nuts. And if you're not saying Dark of the Moon is the one where the Decepticons are behind Chernobyl, of course. And moon landings and all sorts of crazy stuff. And in order to kill the cadre of humans who are involved in this conspiracy about Chernobyl and the moon landings and all the other things that were going on in that film, Laserwing is sent by Soundwave to go sneak around, infiltrate their homes, and kill them with his big talons, which in what's probably the most memorable scene of the film is involved in a sequence where a parent comes home and finds their little daughter playing with a pink bumblebee. He's like cute and adorable, and I think he even has a toy now. And but it's Laserwing in disguise with Christopher Harris, but pretending to be a friendly robot. Going, is your daddy home? With a fantastic voice provided by Holtz for Angel, whose real name I'm not even going to try and say. But he's in the Dark Knight as well, notice us. But yeah, it's a friendly childhood pal turned into a vicious killer bird and ripping a dad and a little girl into tiny little fleshy bits. And it's one of the most striking moments in the entire series, and he's genuinely unsettling. So yes, that's a famous of mine as well.
Wow.
So much so, I don't even remember this happening.
you were really to the Chernobyl side. You were like, right, we should do a mini-series about this. This is mad.
Well, yeah, that thing the Decepticons live in.
It's just shockwaves, Tom.
Pardon?
Just shockwaves.
Just shockwave that's in Chernobyl. Well, that's enough. I mean, if I went to a place and there was just shockwave there, that would probably be. I'd be correct in saying that there are some Decepticons there, and we should watch out.
And I know a few was saying on Twitter the other day and started a discussion about, is it in bad taste to have the Transformers be behind all these real-world events?
Like 9/11.
Well, sooner or later, somebody's going to do.
And HIV.
Now you've gone too far, Tom.
Hey,
there was a line there, and
yeah, Transformers 9/11. That's a funny thing. I'm quite fond of always sort of when sci-fi shows do that mildly bad taste. Our characters are behind everything. I mean, watching Quantum Leap at the moment, there's a lot of that in that show where he does everything from kill Kennedy to create Donald Trump. And not that would have been seen as quite as bad when they made the show, him helping Donald Trump get rich. But I was quite fond of all that sort of slightly silly conspiracy, real-world history stuff. And so don't create nuclear disasters, or a little pink bumblebee will come kill your little daughter and then you. That's a lesson there. We should all take to heart.
So speaking of Transformers zombies.
Right, yes, Transformers zombies. Very different kinds of zombies. We are talking about, excuse me, let me put my glasses on. We are talking about the Delphi two-parter. I'm just kidding, they're fake glasses. So this is very early days Modern Museum, let me see 4 and 5, where it's all the big starts of like a mystery story where Ratchet is told, well, no, actually Ratchet discovers there is a very peculiar transmission coming from Delphi, disguised in, I think, what used to be like the equivalent of a Transformers podcast or something like that, or some kind of newsletter about wreckers, and decides to go to Delphi to investigate and takes Drift and Pipes with him. Now, the name Pipes should start worrying you, because whenever Pipes is involved in anything, it does not end well, my friends. So the three of them go down into Delphi, this snow-covered planet, and they find this big building with this huge red X at the door. So what do you do when you see a big red X at the door? You just change into a car and go straight through it. That's what you do, which is what happens. And what do you find at the other end of the door? You find some very scary looking Transformers, which are coming at you with their arms outstretched, trying to grab you. And then what do? You kill them. That's what you do. Except you really shouldn't have done that, because they were just sick and they kind of needed help. Also, you're now infected because you're stupid. So yeah, the Delphi rust plague which goes places and becomes the basis for other things down the series, introduces us to characters like Pharma, that we're going to talk about later anyway. And in the end, thankfully, there is a cure for her. But for the brief period of time, we don't know that there is one. Drift gets infected, Pipes gets infected, Ratchet gets infected. Drift jumps heroically to save Ratchet, cuts off Pharma's hands, a very famous scene that then leads to many other things. Yeah, a very different kind of zombie story with no actual zombies involved. And one of the more memorable moments, I think, with Pharma putting his hand on the glass and saying, I believe he's behind you. Or something along those lines, anyway, to Ratchet. So yeah, one of my absolute definite favorite Mulder meets the Eye moments. Yes, which again leads us to...
Speaking of the Quintessons.
Oh, yes, yes. Speaking of the Quintessons.
Well, so the Quintessons. They're these, I guess, you know, like these guys, you see them sometimes, they're like, made of several different, completely heterogeneous species. You know, they're like a bunch of guys, but one of them's like a big egg full of faces, and the other one's like a little octopus guy. And there's nothing they like doing more. You know, these guys, they're always putting together these kind of kangaroo courts, these sort of little show trials, and you know, there's always like a pit. Yeah, and the pit's full of sort of mechanical sharks, and you're not quite sure, are the mechanical sharks Quintessons? Are they with them, or have they been bought, or are they just animals? You never know. You never know with these guys.
Well, I think in the mythology of the cartoon, they would be built creations of Quintessons, like Transformers are.
Right, yeah. So these guys are always hanging around. There's like a burned out car. There's like a stairwell. They're on the street. They've got loud music, and you know, there's they just never quit. These guys, these Quintessons, and they first appeared in Transformers the movie, and they were like the most kind of D&D creation that's possible. A whole bunch of cool-looking Floridiri designs that exist. They seem to spend all of their free time putting NPCs through kind of horrific tortures, so that the heroes can overcome those tortures, and you know, within a matter of minutes, lead an insurrection across the entire planet to get rid of this nasty system they've been doing. But, you know, if you're not Hot Rod and Cup, you kind of end up on the wrong end of their sense of justice. Or maybe the right end of their sense of justice. We never really got to the bottom of why the Quintessons do this. I think they're just funny.
They don't seem amused.
Oh, no. Hang on, wait. Look at that. They're having a great time.
It's okay. I take it back. They are amused.
I like to think of them as, I think like on a cosmic scale, they're probably children. I think they're children. They're dressing up as adults. They're like kind of wearing like a funny barrister's wig. And I don't think they quite understand the pain they're putting the Lithones through. I think they're just unsupervised.
That is a take.
So you don't go with the cartoon's explanation of what Quintessons are doing then, Tom?
What is that? Why are they putting people on trial in the cartoon?
Because they pissed off about using Cyclone, and what they're on trial for is being Transformers or not. So the Ambulance is guilty of not being a Transformer, innocent of not being a Transformer, rather, but they kill him anyway because they're just dicks on that score. But yeah,
that makes even less sense.
Well, you should have a word with Flint Dilley, Tom. You should phone him up.
Yeah.
Tell him that his logic makes no sense.
Right, okay.
Tell him, in fact, you could cut the entire Quintessons sequence out of the film and lose nothing.
No, you would lose the Quintessons.
Right. They're not very relevant. Bat and Junkyard, you could just cut out entirely. All you lose is Rectar and Wheeling. If they just flew it straight to the top of Earth, you have a film that's like 20 minutes shorter with no difference in it to the outcome.
Okay, counterpoint.
And then we can just get on with our lives.
You get rid of all the other shit, and you just have Quintessons for 90 minutes, and they're having a great time. It's just like, this guy's on trial, and they're like, ooh, here's the evidence against him. Shockticons. And then this guy's on trial, and let's hear what he's got to say. Boom, Shockticons. And then at the end, they have lunch.
What do you think they eat?
Oh, okay, hang on. Let's look at their teeth. All right, this guy. Well, okay. I guess fish.
Okay.
Sorry to say.
Sure.
Yeah. This guy's more, I guess, tough fruit. Pumpkins, probably. Actually, like a hippo.
Or like mangoes.
Yeah. Oh, I want to see him eat a mango. It'd be hard with his hands.
He can stab them and put them into his mouth.
Yeah, I guess because they've all got different hands, so maybe they help each other eat. Maybe they after a hard day, because the judges don't have hands at all.
Yeah, what do they eat?
Well, I guess
if one of them eats, do they all get fed?
I think that would have to be the way it goes, or someone's going to starve. Maybe they take turns feeding the judge from each of the judges' mouths. There's plopping apples in there, and the judge is laughing, and the juice is all running down the judge into his glowy area. And then these guys, they're going to have a pumpkin. And then this one's probably done most of the feeding. I guess he's sort of lower down. And he's going to go out into the fish pond. He's going to really make a mess.
Can I say I like how they give the guy who is least suited to pressing down levers the job, pressing down a lever.
You got these great big praying mantis arms.
I can't hold on to it. It's very ineffectual.
Do not mess this up. And as far as we know, this is the only guy who looks like this on Quintessa.
No, they use that design in the comics, the Marvel comics. He's the lead villain.
Oh, yeah, Gurog.
Marvel UK Quintessons story.
Grambagob.
He gets hold of the Matrix, and again, he's the least effectual guy to have Matrix. He can't open it. You know, stick a prong in each of the handles. That's about it. And I'd say that.
He should have brought this dexterous friend with him.
So we've successfully written both Flint Dilley and Simon Thurman there. I mean, we've solved the main issue of space pirates.
Always travel in threes. Then you can eat anything you want. Anyway, someone was particularly incensed by Alpha Q, the amusingly named Quintesson man in the Energon series. I don't know anything about Alpha Q, except I think he's like a little girl. And anyway, he's only in like 2 pages of the whole of the Energon comic. And I hate the way he looks. He's not funny at all.
Oh.
Is there anything funny about that? I mean, I guess he's sort of like a pharaoh. He's like a mummy. That's a bit funny.
He's all right. Why does he have a green face?
When
the rest of him isn't?
That's a good question. Maybe when Quintessons mate, they kind of like rotate their faces around like a sort of mating dance, and you know, and it's got to be brightly colored so they can do this at a distance. That's my take on Alpha Q.
I think it's telling me off right now because it says I only see the shell.
If you're professional, Tom, we keep talking to cover the silence.
Oh, sorry, right. I kind of want to know what the other half of that was. Yeah, so that's Energon Quintessons. Low effort, I think. But fortunately, in Cyberverse, the Quintessons come back and they're real cool. Some of the more ethnic qualities of the judges have been stripped out, and now we've got like Crazy Judge and Lady Judge, and I don't know, they're sort of a lot. They kind of lean into the funniness of it, though. They've got these kind of Matrix Sentinel squiddy guys who kind of do most of their heavy work. The Sharkticons are still there. They're sort of sometimes funny, sometimes threatening in the sort of tradition of Sharkticons. But the best thing about the Quintessons now is that there's this guy who talks like he's in a Hammer horror movie, and he cannot be killed. If you kill him, just another one is assembled from the walls and just drops down, and he sort of giggles, and he collects sound waves for no particular reason. I think he's just bored.
That's adorable.
How big is he?
Oh, he's pretty large.
Oh, I thought he was a tiny guy. That's
Oh,
is that
no,
a tiny
no.
sound wave?
No, that's a regular size sound wave. And yeah, he's got hundreds. And so whenever he comes to a new universe, he goes and finds Soundwave, lobotomizes him, and puts him in a cupboard.
This sounds like the greatest character in the
I
entire
know.
history.
Cyberverse is the best.
I'm in awe.
So this is my my praise for the Quintessons as a concept. Bit of a low dip with Energon for sure, but now I think they're maybe the best things that are in Transformers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have one of an also Volt kits, but I am going to have to take this mask off.
Yes! Oh man, I've been waiting for this. This is your Joyce Meadows moment. Whoa!
Oh, it was me all along. No, it's just too tight on my face on the end there. It's actually gorging into my eyeballs a bit.
Nice.
Feel the mesh pressed up against the eyeball. But
Okay,
you can't really see it, but I am wearing a skeleton-themed suit as well.
That's good. If you're going to show your face, then...
I'm masking. I have to go get my charger for the laptop because he was about to die.
Oh, that's it. But now I can express, breathe, and feel things other than my eyeballs being gorged out of my skull. So, with this new added emotional content, I'm going to describe to you another moment involving pits.
Pigs.
Are quite common in horror for Transformers, clearly, because what do you do when you want to get rid of somebody? You throw in a big pit.
You melt them?
Yeah, melt them. But Marian is already got plans what was out of it. But yes, in issue 18 of the original Marvel comic, this is what happened to Scrouge. And when we were looking through the list of what people voted for and Tom compiled the top things, I thought it said Scourge. I was like, Scourge, she's deaf. Wasn't that scary in Marvel. But of course, it was actually Scrouge. The little guy turns into a ball and rolls along very cheerfully. He just wants to be loved, but everybody thinks he's useless and crap. Even his best friend, Blaster. But one day he goes into Darkmount, overhears a secret plan from Straxus, and goes to escape but fails. And he gets chucked into the smelting pool, where Blaster comes to try and rescue him to get his secret information off him. But it's too late for the little guy. He's melting away, and just before he just melts into a little pool, he throws his secret information to Blaster in the hope it will validate his life and existence. Which he doesn't really. I mean, all that really happens is that whenever Blaster wants to be a dick to anybody after that, and they say, Blaster, stop being a dick, he goes, my best friend died, as the excuse for the next 2 years. So really, he just becomes an enabler of abusive behaviour in his death, which is even more tragic, in a way, melting away to nothing to allow Blaster to abuse Goldberg. Sorry, the mask's obviously loosened up my flesh. Taking it off. So it's the US comic before the British artists go over there doesn't really do horror. But the art of that issue, and if I'd been really smart when it was a dad who blew it, I think it's Don Perley. It's just a really fantastic visual of him dying horribly and slowly, and all the other Transformers in the smelting pool, having bits come off there. And it was clearly a very, again, striking image for many following writers, because all those years later, we had Skids cheerfully sending his good mate Quark into a similar nasty, horrific situation where James Roberts was thinking, that was pretty nasty, but we can make it a little bit nastier if it's a smelting disco. So only they have a little dance, and then else horribly. So it's very influential, a lot of stuff. Probably the most influential American issue was written by Bob Budiansky. His favourite of the issues he wrote, I believe. It's ironic because it's one that breaks all his own rules of writing Transformers, and it's at its best on contemporary Earth with a strong human element. This is all Transformers, it's all Cybertron, it's all horrible, melting, violent death. And interestingly, it's the first issue where you can tell they're aware of Transformers are moving. Because, for example, Beachcomber is on Cybertron, his Cybertronian alternate mode is Cup. He turns into the same vehicle as Cup. So they were clearly aware of the film at that point. So maybe the whole chucking people into pits thing was even inspired a bit by the film. I don't know. So, but I'm going to pretend that to create a connectivity backwards with what Tom was just talking about. And I don't know what's next, so I can't really connect connectivity into Marian's thing. But
I can. It's all right. I mean, we were just talking about nothing to do with it. Couldn't even think of a character out of that. Wait, is there
Rewind's in the movie briefly?
Rewind, is it? Okay, yeah, we're talking about Rewind. So we are now at my personal scariest moment. Actually, it came relatively low in the votes. We are talking about Modern Missing issue 35. Everything is fine. Which includes an alternative dystopian universe.
Oh. I know. Are you still there, Tom?
I'm still here, but maybe
In which...
Oh!
Did we go a bit wonky?
We did. We lost you for a second there. You were becoming a functionist Marian. I think that's what was happening.
Okay, I'll start over in case it was frozen or something. But yes, we're talking about Modern Messiah 35, which I'm just trying to remember what it's actually called, because I always refer to it as Everything is Fine.
We Are Your Eyes.
We Are Your Eyes, that's it. It's not important. But anyway, it's a glimpse at an alternate universe in which the Functionist Council has taken over Cybertron. And it's a universe in which Megatron never actually existed. Or at least never became the Megatron we all know. In the IDW universe, it's a very different world in which the outside world has not suffered as it has under the Decepticons, but Cybertron itself is suffering really badly. It's a society where everything is under surveillance, where everyone has to, excuse me, it's just COVID.
Well, we'll put this video up as a tribute.
Oh, shit.
Thanks. Anyway, people die. It's not very unlike our current society, in fact, where, you know, the rich live and the weak die in general. And people are considered disposable if they can't prove their value to a capitalist society or insert X society there. The scariest moment is, one of the scariest moments is, of course, when we get to see Dominus Ambus who has a TV set for a head. Because they've taken away his head, so he can't actually express himself anymore in anything but sentences that he can type on the monitor. And there are certain words that he can never say at all. It's a world in which Rewind is with his beloved, but at what cost? A world in which Minimus Ambus has now become Ultra Magnus. And seems to think that everything is fine until he actually goes home and realizes that no, actually nothing is fine. And our story has a very unhappy ending in which all of our favorite characters actually get killed. It's the prelude to Elegant Chaos. It's something that sets up what's actually at stake if things go wrong and history is tampered with in the modern mid-sci universe. Personally, I find it one of the scariest stories because it feels quite real. It's the there are certain things that might be scarier, but you're very unlikely to be killed by a novelode escaping a cell, or a serial killer, or a number of other things. However, a society like the one that we see in Modern Mythia 35 is something that is not that hard to imagine. It is a very frightening world, but also more importantly, the functionist universe then comes into play later down in Lost Light, and we get to see a lot more of it when it stops being as scary.
Yeah, it becomes a bit more heroic.
Yes, indeed. And that leads us straight into...
Whoa. Whoa.
Tom, you stopped being a pumpkin. I didn't even notice that transition happened.
Well, yeah, you had stopped being a skeleton, Daniel Craig, and so I'd stopped being a pumpkin in solidarity. Now none of us are Daniel Craig.
Oh, I don't have a mask to take off. What am I supposed to do? I will put my glasses back on.
Yes, good thinking. So, it is scary to have an entire world that's out to get you. But what if an entire world was out to get you? So Unicron, talk about things that are completely implausible. There is zero chance of being eaten by a planet.
Excuse you, there is 0.00001 chance.
There is that rogue planet flying about the galaxy we've just discovered. So, don't count your chickens yet, Tom.
No, well, I'll keep a close eye on it because Unicron is one of my favorites. That's Betamax tape of Transformers the movie. I think I only would watch the first couple of minutes, just getting up to the bit where Unicron starts munching on the moons. But just the opening sequence of him having a go at Lithone is amazing. Just no narration, no explanation. Just like, hey, kids, welcome to your Transformers movie. Just here's a world getting torn apart by a big tick. Why? I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Some people are trying to get away. There's children. We see robot children just get eaten. We're explicitly told that there's 2 survivors, and we get see both of them getting eaten later by sharks.
It's quite horrible if you think about it.
It's the most mean-spirited film ever made. I love it. They try to get away. You can't get away from Unicron. He's a planet. He's got gravity sometimes, but not always. And it's so beautifully animated. It's kind of them really wanting to kind of, do a bit of an Akira sort of vibe here. There's lots of kind of nods and techniques. Throughout the years, Unicron has tried to up things by taunting you while he's eating your planet, by saying that, like, this is a good thing, actually. If I could eat me, I would. And that feels like a great thing to be coming down from the sky. So, yes, I bet you're gonna enjoy this, everybody. Blah blah blah.
Is that your Orson Welles voice, Tom?
Yeah, hang on. I could maybe do a bit more. Summon me here for a purpose. The end comes, Transformers. Eternal Black Night descends. You are about to become one with the Great Void. I envy you. That's my Orson Welles as Unicron. He munches you up, and this was really, really, really exciting / horrific. As a kid, you get to see all his innards. It's like you see this in so many cartoons. They do the Fantastic Journey, but you're always inside someone nice who maybe you want to get better. But in Transformers the movie, it's a fantastic journey inside like the devil.
Hey, Tom, do you mean Fantastic Voyage?
Which one do I mean?
Well, I think Fantastic Journey is one where like a dog, a cat, and another dog.
Oh, that's the Incredible Journey.
Oh, right, well, Fantastic Voyage is a film with
Fantastic Voyage. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Shrink down and go inside Big Satan, and you get to see all his bits. I think this is his. That's it. I don't know. It's just sort of his uppy down bits. I don't know. No one knows. It's great. Floriduri's had just free reign to do whatever the hell he liked. It's amazing. And then to top it all off, he turns into Big Satan. And you have to look up at his big weird chin and all his little rotating bits. Getting these screen grabs today, I realize it's a bit fetishistic, but I didn't realize that at the time. But no, he's a big man who can come and shoot laser beams at Jesus, and he's got big hands he can use to just tear apart, just tear your whole planet apart. He's just so sick of it. I have a giant mouth that I could just use, but I don't even want to do. I'm not even giving you the piece of being devoured by a big tick thing. I'm just gonna rip you up. It's great. And of course, sometimes he even imagine this. Imagine the sky is filled with the face of Satan. He's saying weird stuff about him envying you, but then Satan looks down, and there's just one guy. There's just one guy down there who's like your favorite. He's like a scorpion guy. And he goes like, you in particular. And somehow he's got like pinpoint laser aim. I guess he's able to do this. And just completely melts him and not much else. I think, you think maybe it was like the whole of like the Western Hemisphere that would go up. But no, it's just Scorponok. And that makes Optimus Prime sad. It's good value, Unicron. I think he gets underestimated.
All I can see when I've seen this sequence now is a couple of months ago I read the Doctor Who magazine comic where they killed Ace as the finale from the 7th Doctor's era before we introduced Paul McGann. There's a big discontinuity from Doctor Who novels. They've been doing like, we're going to show we're doing our own thing, we're going to kill Ace. And Ace dies in almost exactly the same way as Scorponok does here. We're having pretty much exactly the same dialogue exchange. So I'm assuming both of them are paid homage to something else. I'm not sure what the something else is, but it's virtually identical dialogue. So if anybody knows what this is paid homage to, I mean, maybe the Doctor Who comic is paid homage to this, but I can't imagine anyone in 1996 rising for the Doctor Who magazine would have read this. So if you at home know what this is a homage to, write in.
It's got to be a Star Trek thing, I guess. Seeing as everything else is.
There, it's a Star Trek thing.
It's a Star Trek thing. Yeah, Scorponok. He's doing Star Trek. He's into it. Got himself melted. So yeah, Unicron. He's big and funny, and he talks funny, and he'll eat your whole planet and then melt your friend out of spite. Good value for Halloween.
Can I give a shout out to his mind control powers that he had in the British stories that make no sense
Oh, yeah.
Because if he could mind control Hot Rod to go back in time and sort out Galvatron, he could mind control Hot Rod to shoot off the Magnus in the back of the head and destroy the Matrix. So it doesn't make any sense.
Just mind control Optimus, just to...
Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense. That's probably why it's not in the film. So it's just something invented from comics to explain the time travel thing in 2006.
Okay, hang on. Here's some fanning I'm making up on the fly. He's not mind controlling Hot Rod like he says he is. He's just doing to Hot Rod what he's doing to Galvatron. He's just saying, "Oh, you listen to me." Ah. And he's doing the red stuff to him. And Hot Rod's just like too cheerful to like be too bothered by it. So he's like, "Yeah, cool. Okay, boy."
But what about the Junkion? Like, that's the bit that always got me, where the mind control Junkion is trying to kill Wreck-Gar, and Wreck-Gar has to kill him.
Maybe they're just jerks.
To escape. Just jerks.
Just jerks. I don't know. Just like Unicron says do something. I don't know. I got nothing else on.
That's an additional demonic power he had sometimes. I always particularly remember.
Yeah.
But not they're all just jerks. But speaking of jerks, have I got the most 8-legged jerk in Transformers comic history to talk to you about now? I want to tell you about a spider. And Tom's got his props out again. So instead of pointing to Tom, I'm going to point to Marian's spider brooch, which is very cool. Oh, you got a toy as well. Oh, I feel woefully unprepared. But Tarantulas, popular Beast Wars character, mad scientist, another one. There's a lot of them. But we're not talking about the original Beast Wars Tarantulas. We are talking about the IDW Tarantulas. The Sins. Was it Sins? Yes, Sins of Wreckers Tarantulas. From our mad boy, Nick Roach. See, we weren't just buttering him up earlier because we had a sponsorship deal. We don't. We'll take money to promote things out for Squarespace. We were mentioning him because he is a pivotal part of this program. Because the one moment Sins of Wreckers got in the top 3 number of votes out of all moments. And that is where Tarantula's there, who is turned into a spider. It can be a spider of any size. It can be a Transformers-sized spider or a spider-sized spider or an even bigger Transformer-sized spider. And in Sins of Wreckers, it is revealed that Roadbuster, he likes to blow off people's faces, so some may call this poetic justice, had previously been mentally tormented and partially brainwashed by Tarantulas, who shrunk into a little spider, well, probably quite a big spider compared to us, to be fair. But compared to Roadbuster, it's a little one, and crawled in his ear and whispered to him when he was asleep, allegedly conditioning him to torture what are basically teenagers to death through their military training, which then Roadbuster got all the blame for, because he couldn't just say, there was a voice in my head telling me to do it. But there's a stand up in course, not trial course anyway. And then years later, Roadbuster hears about all this, he gets obsessed. So he decides he's going to, I nearly said a rude word there, but we are trying to be family friendly for this one, watch for your kids. So he's going to go mess up Tarantulas, but Tarantulas shrinks down to a little spider again, or big spider if you're human, falls in his ear, and then becomes a big spider out of his head. So you effectively have a sequence of an exploded head with a spider coming out of it. It's one of the great visceral horror moments in Transformers comics. Maybe the peak of Nick Roach there in terms of glory. And it is everything that Nick Roach is. Everything that is within his soul, his personality, his hopes, his dreams, his fears is within that panel.
Nice work, Tarantulas.
And we're meant to feel sad when Tarantulas dies two issues later. Two issues and a few years later. But Wreckers, we're to go, even though there's exploded head murders and encourages you to torture robot children to death. But
Well, you know, we've all done it.
but yeah, it's pure gore, and it's incredibly strong. It's a moment in this Magic Roach that's sat there typing away, going, as he's writing it. That's what I think he was doing there. He could use it for 2 fingers to type. That's how I think Nick Roach types. That would be my guess. And I'm amazed there wasn't more Nick Roach on the list on this. I thought we could have had some Spotlight Cup. We could have had various other things. But yes, that is the time. A moment that can only happen in a Transformers comic that has a guy turned into a mass-changing spider in it.
Or a Cronenberg film.
Or a Cronenberg film. Those 2 very specific things. And nobody else would do it. But yeah, Nick Roach and David Cronenberg, only one of them has been an actor in a Friday the 13th film. So Nick still needs to do that. So there's a challenge for Sir Roach there.
We could probably try and make that happen, actually. I'm sure there's going to make another. I'm sure there'll be several more Friday the 13th films.
Actually, it's probably not that hard to get into one, to be honest.
You've heard us, listeners. This is our mission in life. We're going to put Nick Roach in a Friday the 13th film. Any of you in Hollywood or Bollywood or Nollywood?
Friday the 13th films are already canon with Transformers because Michaela's original boyfriend in the 2007 Transformers film is one of the main guys in the Friday the 13th remake. Not the actor, the actual character is in both films.
This isn't a kind of situation where you had Friday the 13th recorded on the same tape as...
No. Trent, played by the same actor, in basically the same personalities in both Transformers 2007 and Friday the 13th 2009. So,
okay. God, he had a weird couple of years, didn't he?
He did. He thought he'd get away from the giant robots. Ended up being macheted and saying the worst ever line of dialogue due to sex scene in a film ever, which I can't even repeat here because we're trying to be family friendly. But if you watch the 2009 Friday the 13th remake, you'll know it when it comes up.
Okay.
Write it in the chat. I want to know what it is. I can't remember.
Yeah, I want you to sort of hint at it obliquely.
But that's where we get from the fact that comparison to from Nick Roach and David Lynch being in the 10th Friday the 13th film, gets murdered by Jason too. That's how all we see connect.
An out-of-control murderer, Marian. What could be worse?
A couple of things. One of which, oh my God, Stuart did write it in the chat, and you guys really don't want to know what that line was. But anyway, let's get back to our horror telling.
Oh wait, no, that was the wrong chat. Sorry, I said that.
Our friends, the Lost Light crew, are on the Lost Light ship when strange things start happening, like bits of the ship start disappearing. They all run for the escape pods, get in there, and all of a sudden, they themselves start disappearing. Nobody knows what the hell's going on until suddenly Nightbit says, hang on, the people who are disappearing are the people who were on the Lost Light at the very beginning of the mission. And the people left are those who joined the crew later. But what does this mean? They have to put that thought on pause for a moment because all of a sudden, right in front of them, they see the Lost Light itself, which they thought had disappeared, broken to pieces, just hovering in space. It's energon floating everywhere like red blood. They get on that ship trying to find out what's happened. They can't work it out. All they can tell is There are bits of the ship that are familiar, but there are also bits of the ship that are not. They find Swerve's bar, but it doesn't really look like Swerve's bar. What could possibly be happening? They go down familiar corridors only to find the corpses of their friends who have disappeared. Most of them shot in alt mode straight through the spark. What is going on? Megatron locks himself in a cupboard
He does.
to have a very dramatic chat with Ravage because nobody trusts him because he's a fucking tyrant. And when the light suddenly in that blown up to bits lost light come on, he realizes that right behind him on that corridor is Ratchet, Drift, and Hound shot to death. But that's not all, because the most important thing of all is that their brain modules have been removed and shoved into their mouths. This is Slaughterhouse. More Than Meets the Eye issues 32 and 33. Some of the scariest issues in the whole of More Than Meets the Eye, in my opinion. One of the biggest mysteries in the whole of More Than Meets the Eye, which I won't spoil for you because I'm feeling kind.
Halloween mercy.
But however, I do recommend you read this story because it is one of the nicest things you're going to read in the whole of Transformers. And I also encourage you to look out for a fun video made of a trailer to Slaughterhouse with deep space music. You will not be disappointed. It is really worthwhile. It really brings to life that kind of like deep space, nobody's coming to help you, horror of there's something out here and we don't know what it is and it's gonna kill us. Really amazing sci-fi, up there with things like Event Horizon, in the feels that it kind of like brings out as you read it. And I will leave that there.
Just come past Slaughterhouse in my big reread of More Than Meets the Eye, and reading it with a Transformers novice, and yeah, really very shocking.
Did
How gory and yeah, kind of tortury it is. And then, you know, interspersed with a couple of fun jokes about A-levels.
And about Smartass Nautica.
Smartass Nautica, yeah.
Did your novice, your acolyte, did they guess the reveal of what was really going on? Because I know a fair few people did at the time before it happened. And that's possibly what drove Roberts over the edge of.
No.
Were there any theories? Was there any kind of guessing?
Yes, there were some good guesses, all in the right direction, but you know, we were reading them pretty quick, so there wasn't months of figuring out in between.
Have they seen Red Dwarf?
No.
Oh, they probably would have guessed it then if they've not seen that episode.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of Red Dwarf in Slaughterhouse, but that's okay. It's allowed. It's allowed, Stuart.
It's a first time. Every time is somebody's first time.
Did Red Dwarf ever get genuinely scary, would you say?
There is a bit in one of the Red Dwarf books where they come across a copy of their ship that has the slaughtered remains of all their shipmates on, but then they slowly become aware that it's from a parallel universe.
Which has nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I was thinking of Demons and
Actually,
Angels.
it doesn't.
But if we make Red Dwarf comparisons, we'll just get told off again. So, Tom, what have you got next?
Wait, is it me? Is it
He
me?
doesn't.
No, is it me? Sorry, it's I can. Yes, it's me. Sorry, yes. Well,
it's actually Marian again. I could do this if you. Yeah, I mean that was.
Go for it, Tom. Go.
Okay, cool. So, all right. What was big in the 90s? Red Dwarf, and other things. But you know what was really big? You know what the biggest thing was?
Baywatch.
Killers.
What was that?
Serial killers.
Well, they're big now. They weren't just big in the 90s.
No. Okay. You know what a big thing a big thing is? I'm off to a great start. Serial killers. They're spooky and they know things sometimes and they do like patterns and they have a specific way of doing stuff. And every film was about serial killers. Remember that? They were in the cupboard. They were on the bottom of the car. They were relentless. It was a terrible time.
So many serial killers, every film.
Oh, I know.
Beethoven's Fifth, all of it.
That dog. My God, that dog. So, isn't it about time that we had a serial killer in Transformers? Yes. And because this is Transformers where everyone's got like funny powers, how about the way that this guy kills is that, okay, then stay with me. He's got special eyes, right? Nothing weird about that. And if he looks at you with his special eyes, he can rewrite your memories. But that's something other Transformers can do. So it's just he does it with his eyes rather than his fingers or whatnot. But, okay, here's what he does with your memories. Imagine this scary guy coming up to you and he looks at you and he rewrites your memories to make you turn inside out. Because that's something memories can do. Whoa! Oh! That's the worst, isn't it?
That is gruesome and horrific.
I hate that guy. I hate meeting that guy. He's always at work.
That's like combining mind and body horror into one.
Yeah. He's like looking and he's like, oh, and he's got a scary voice. And he's like, bah, 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 bah.
But he can only do that if he's actually got his eyes on.
Yes, he's got proper horror movie rules.
Yeah.
Like, don't let, and where are the eyes? Or and the eyes are rolling towards, you got to stop the eyes. But then he gets the eyes and now he's like, I'm going to turn you inside out.
I'm looking at you. You think about what you've done and you turn yourself inside out.
Yeah, and his face is like this radar dish. So he's sort of like, it's like an owl. He's like, ah! He's got teeth. His mouth's always open. He's like,
he's got antenna for like TV dishes for ears or something.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what gave him away when we're saying who's going around projecting their mind into people's minds to make them turn inside out. It's probably got the big satellite dish head. Yeah. I don't know him. I don't know who's doing it. Because otherwise, he doesn't really leave much of a trace. Because if you do it, you in a crowd of 1,000 people, he can look at you and they wouldn't know who had done that because he doesn't have to touch you.
I want to pause there for a second because there's something else in this whole two-parter, I think it was, that is equally scary, but nobody's mentioned in the voting. And that is when we find Getaway in his cell. Without his arms, his legs, his mouth. He's just being suspended from a shell, like his torso. This is after Getaway's revealed to be a dodgy character for the first time. But I think what's really scary about that moment is that it's the good guys that have done this to him. And it kind of pauses you a little bit. Because if that's the good guys and that's the bad guy, what on earth really is going on in this book, which is suddenly very grey and ambiguous?
Oh, Tom had a getaway ready to go there. Where we would expect to talk about him. He was on ball.
He's got a disemboweled getaway, in fact.
Yeah.
Not just any getaway, missing a head and legs and everything getaway.
I always got this guy in my pocket. You want to talk about disemboweled getaway? Yeah, I'm here.
I approve of this message.
I mean, it makes you think, though, as that is apparently a legal way to string up a guilty Transformer, because the Ultra Magnus would not have any truck or anything outside of jurisprudence. It makes you wonder why Optimus Prime didn't say they should just take Megatron about like that. Rather than making him co-captain, I think Optimus Prime just need a complete ass. Top rod.
I think I know. This only the penny only dropped for me on the latest reread, but the whole time, Optimus has been is remembering the conversation he had with Megatron on the time phone. Megatron was like, "You know what? I think I'm cool. I think I'm gonna join up with you guys." And he did not. He did the whole time. He's like, "Okay, come on. When you said so, you said you were gonna do it." I think that's why. He's so lenient.
Commitment.
All this million years later, he was like, finally, dude, I've been waiting for you.
Jeez, yeah, you know, okay.
Take your time, like.
And he never found out that it turned out okay, either.
No.
He went and hugged a man for eternity before Megatron got back to Cybertron.
I mean, we've all done it.
Speaking of Megatron, though.
Yes, this is the most popular Marvel and indeed most popular vintage, if we call it that at this point, moment that people voted for. It is from issue 69.
Hey, nice.
Hey, nice, yep. Let's just give everybody a moment to go nice at home. That's enough time. Issue 69 of the American Marvel comic. It is sort of a big turning point in the American Marvel comic. It is when Andy Wildman comes on board as artist to last until the end of the series, except for one issue where persuading Jeff Sr. to war. It's really where the Furman era of the American comic properly kicks off after, it must have been about a year of slightly treading water a bit and sort of settling in. So the first Furman American arc, right, a year earlier, in a non-funny number issue, had brought Megatron back, who had been missing from the American comic for a couple of years. Just as sort of an attention-grabbing thing, because the comic was on the point of cancellation, would bring the main villain back for an arc. But because Megatron did not have a toy at that point, it was just bringing back to kill him again. So it is Megatron versus Ratchet, that old rivalry from the earliest days of a Marvel comic. They're in conflict on Cybertron. There are bombs on the ark. There's a space portal. And Ratchet outwits and foxes Megatron, beams the bombs into Megatron's secret base, and tries to escape through the portal. But him and Megatron get to a tussle, and the whole thing explodes. It looks like Megatron and Ratchet are dead. And they've already intended to be dead at that point, because comic on the verge of cancellation, these guys are toys. A couple of years later, Action Masters are coming. And this issue 69 is the second part, really, with two connected stories set on the arc that are about starting a very long road to Action Masters. Grimlock goes off to Hivers 4, and because Megatron has an Action Master, Megatron needs to come back. No one except Grimlock will actually become an Action Master in the comic, because very obviously, Furman hated the idea of Action Masters, so he really drags out this journey of getting everybody covered in Nucleon. Like, Megatron eventually gets covered in Nucleon in the last but one issue. But that's why Megatron has come back as a sop, because he's going to eventually become an Action Master, but not really, because he's going to delay it till the comic is ended. How do you bring Megatron back after he and Ratchet both exploded by a space portal? You have my boy Nightwings, who I'm only mentioning because Tom's got the toy there. A terrible, awful Nightwing toy. Making good Nightwing, yes, scum. Nightwings works out that they fell into a portal, and when the base exploded, the portal shut off, so they're now trapped in between portals. So if they open up a portal, they can bring Ratchet, Optimus Prime's bestest friend, the only person who died in the comic Optimus Prime ever gave a toss about. He was sad for the entire issue after Ratchet died. Didn't care about anybody else. Cloudburst died. Oh, no.
Scorponok.
Scorponok, he's a very confused man at the time. He just wants to be friends with the Decepticon leaders. He's got some kinks. Megatron, Scorponok, just wants to be their pals. But it's his own boys, it's only Ratchet he cares about. So they open a portal, but it turns out that being exploded as you get through a portal is bad for your health. And what does not emerge is not just Ratchet, it is a composite, a hideous, melted, Frankenstein's monster that is half Megatron, half Ratchet, which is a striking full-page issue cliffhanger to issue 68. And then issue 69 is just about the Ratchet Megatron monster stumbling about with sort of 4 arms and 4 legs and its 2 heads going. Ratchet wants Optimus Prime to shoot him in the head and put him out of his misery like a dog. Megatron just wants to throw stuff about, smash it up a bit. That's his way. So there's something about the arc looking disgusting. It's a peak of our new armored art, especially that full issue. The cliffhanger is quite a sharp because it's not Stephen Baskerville on inks. When Stephen Baskerville comes onto inks on the full issue of Mega Ratchet, it is this fantastic, monstrous, lumbering homage to every Universal horror film you've ever seen. Even that fact that Cup is trying to get some flaming torches going to hunt down the monster and kill it. And he has to lay down the law to Optimus and say, kill it, because it's that one mentally ill man is better than all my security team. Look, he's ripping apart the ship, but I can't do anything about it. You have to. Optimus Prime, even though I'm the security guy. And Optimus Prime, he goes in there, he puts a bullet to the head and has Ratchet pleading to shoot him. But in the end, he decides to show mercy and separate them. But then he's told by Dr. Fixis that the only way to save Ratchet is to save Megatron as well. Which I would say is possibly dodgy science. I think you'd want to separate them and then put a pillow over Megatron's face if you want to get rid of him afterwards.
Just cut off most of the Megatron. Well, or just tear his arms and legs off, right?
Yes, I think there's some. I think Fixit knows Optimus Prime has a kink from Decepticon leaders. And he's like, yeah, we'll keep Megatron safe, don't worry. Put him in a little box, pull him out, coat him in Nucleon. Whatever you like.
Once a week.
So it's a proper horror-themed issue that is very. And we said everything's very Star Trek. It's a very Star Trek issue. It is like one of those episodes where Dr. Crusher accidentally turns the entire crew into monsters. And you have to race to cure them, and she keeps a medical license afterwards somehow.
Again, I have to say, Cronenberg, The Fly.
Very Cronenberg as well. That's what he got at the same time as The Fly, actually. Yes, it's a
it's a teleport accident.
Yes. Damn, Marian. I don't think Marian has even read this issue when she's worked out its origins better than us.
Well, the Autobots really could do with a proper mental health policy, because this sort of thing just keeps happening.
Yeah. When Megatron doesn't appear again, because as I say, they get to the last issue and they're on the Ark and got there's a Nucleon on board. Now, before that, Megatron gets pumped full of Nucleon by Grimlock by accident because he get all the Autobots in the Ark. He said, "Come on with Nucleon, let's turn them all into Action Masters." But Megatron stays in a little box. But Ratchet comes out in the penultimate issue and he's still mentally joined to Megatron. Guess we should have killed Megatron, really. That would have. So he's having a mental fusion of Megatron, and he's mental trauma as well, mental horror of having your worst enemy who you've had all these problems with. Because in the Marvel Comics, Ratchet and Megatron are far more of a thing going on than Prime and Megatron. They are far more direct confrontations.
You know, there's been an interesting way to take this. I know he turns him into a sled or whatever, but
we don't talk about Generation 1.
No, but imagine if Ratchet had mind melded with Megatron and they sort of started to get on. And then I don't know, maybe they move in together. I don't know. I feel that's maybe got more storytelling potential than
sadly the comic had to end there. It doesn't mean when Ratchet sat there full of thoughts of Megatron and Starscream comes in and goes, "Look at you, just one Autobot on the whole arc. This is going to be easy." Ratchet is just peed off enough to punch the hell out of him.
Oh, because he's mind melded with Megatron.
Well,
Megatron's
he's having a bad day. He's
like,
having a bad time.
punch
And,
Starscream. She's
That's-
Starscream. Punch him.
That's not what would happen. Starscream would go walk in and go, "How dare you cheat on me? Who is this guy? I thought you were gonna meld with anyone. It would be me."
Wow.
It's a tragedy, but that's a conversation between the end of the series and the start of Generation 2, man. Megatron and Starscream are sat in the Canadian snow for 2 years. I was having an awkward conversation about Ratchet. Who's presumably still alive and sat there as well, and it's feeling very awkward.
Just pretending to be busy.
He has to go away. So I've had enough of this. That's why he's not in Generation 2. But no, it's one of the most striking, memorable images. In fact, it got a majority of the things I would have to talk about. It's got most votes out of everybody who voted, and that's at the end of the comic when sales figures were failing. Not as good as they had been. So in fact, so many people remember this over stuff when the comic was at its peak, like Joy Meadows.
It's right up there, and then in the
more people would have read that by a magnitude than read the Mega Ratchet issue. So it's clearly stuck with the people who read it. It is a Patrick Troughton era of Transformers moments where there weren't that many people watching. Nobody who did watch really remembers stuff. But
that's Doctor Who.
Yes, well done. So it's just go Google the image and you will go, that is an amazing image of. No, but actually, don't Google Megatron in Ratchet. You'll probably come up with something else. But
There was some way to show.
Show
people.
Is this a slideshow?
This image
annoyed that he had done more homework than anybody else.
Some people are just listening.
Yes, that's why we have to paint a picture with our words.
Okay, we are on our top 2.
Speaking of famous painters.
Speaking of famous painters, quite. Perhaps I will take the next one, Tom, and you can take the number 1.
Hey, cool. Hang on, where's my? Yeah, okay. I'm ready for this.
For our next scariest moments in the Hall of Transformers, picture this: a spaceship in the middle of nowhere, floating in space. It has a purpose, not necessarily a destination though. And in its bowels, a secret chamber attached to the bottom of this ship. Nobody knows it's there except for a very close circle of people and one very unfortunate soul who discovered it and then went crazy and tried to take his own life. In that chamber, chained, arms and legs, is a homicidal maniac. And with him is a neurosurgeon, somebody who can insert syringe-like nails to the back of your skull to read your memories. In this mind merge, something goes terribly wrong, and perpetrator becomes victim. Who is in charge? The lines become obscured, and all of a sudden, a neurosurgeon becomes the one at a disadvantage. A homicidal murderer breaks free. Why? Because somebody was stupid enough to tell them that the Rex is still alive. He breaks his chains, he bashes the neurosurgeon, he escapes his cell, and what comes next is not gonna be pleasant. No, not at all. So the first thing he does, he starts down a corridor, and who is there? A poor poor tiny Cybertronian by the name of Pipes. What happens? Pipes is running down this corridor in his alt mode, so he's driving down, bumps into a homicidal murderer's leg, apologizes for the inconvenience he has caused, and is promptly smashed to death by the homicidal murderer. But before he breathes his last not quite breath, he manages to sound the alarm on the lost light. I'll let everybody know that Overlord is loose on the ship. Overlord finds his way into the medibay, where Ratchet realizes what's going on, tries to take him out. Drift tries to save him. None of them are successful. And then all of a sudden, Overlord is loose on the ship. What follows is massacre, except it's not quite massacre because not that many people die. But anyway, it's a bit of a battle, all right? Some people die. It's not pleasant. One of our favorite characters dies in a very tragic, sacrificial way. He's not coming back from this encounter. He's the quantum twin does, but let's not go down there quite yet. It's tragic, all right? It's quite tragic. Even more tragic is the fact that Overlord actually survives. But also the fact that we later get to find out that the reason why Overlord was on that fucking ship in the first place was because the ship's captain let him on there because he's a fucking dick. I'm sorry, I know this was supposed to be a family friendly.
I could have said the line out. No, it's back, so I've realised I put it in the chat. I didn't put quotation marks around it. It looks like I'm saying it as well.
Yes, our glorious Captain Rodimus has in fact his manly pride wounded by Prowl, who's told him, you are no man enough to take Overlord on your ship, and has gone, are you talking to me? I will bloody take him on my ship. Not only will I take him on my ship, I will get my best man to interrogate him, and I will just fuck it all out because that's just what I do, all right? But I'll apologize later, so it's gonna be fine. The audience will still like me.
I get a feeling somebody doesn't like you for this.
So yes, this is Overlord escaping from his cell on board the Lost Light in Modern ACI, leading to some of the most memorable issues in Lost Light and the death of Rewind.
Can we say here, I think it's an exceptionally good thing that the unexpected curtailing of the comic meant the original plan to bring the original Rewind back didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, he was writing the issue that would have made that happen when he got the call saying, you need to wrap it up, you don't have 16 issues or whatever it was. It would have been the Scavengers interlude was originally going to be, that would have been a separate issue, and that interlude would have been, you wouldn't have known it was Rewind, but it would have been about the original Rewind.
Are you getting a bit mixed up? Because I don't remember this. I remember that there was going to be a plot line about Chrome Dome having been involved in Ambus's disappearance.
If I remember correctly, the original interlude of that issue would have been the Target 2006 crossover, where it would have been an interlude into the Marvel continuity, where a mysterious muscle-up stranger would have been fighting Omega Supreme. And then later on, it would have been revealed that was the original Rewind, saved by, I can't remember, it would have been who saved him now, the Galactic Council, somebody like that, who would have beat him up and sent him dimension hopping for some reason.
Is this
I can't remember the explanation for it.
Is this a TFN panel? I vaguely remember.
Yes, yeah. So there would have been two Rewinds. which I think it's better that the original Rewind stays dead.
This actually happens in Cyber Utopia.
Yeah, that's just an imaginary original Rewind, though.
But you do have the awkwardness of the situation.
No, it's like the one Rewind where he gets Dominus Ambus. He's a care.
Yeah. Saying that, the situation was not that awkward in the end.
But that, and I also want to put out that on the descriptions of the order, Tom has called that Overlord busting out, which is quite appropriate for Halloween because who are you going to call?
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
He was. Oh,
I'm making a nice.
Right into the pumpkin.
Note. I'm still doing the family-friendly version of the show.
Okay.
Talking of boobs.
Yeah. Are we? So, okay, imagine the situation. You are working in hospital. You're a very busy, very highly sought after, skilled surgeon, and your best friend is also a very highly sought after, skilled surgeon. You both look quite a bit alike. Everybody just assumes there's something going on, but you know,
you're dating.
Pardon?
You're dating.
Oh, right. No, me. Oh, right. No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm getting there.
Just carry on. People need to hear this.
Yeah. So you and your sexy coworker, who are at it every night, you never quite realize because you're not that great with people. You may be a bit on the spectrum. You're very focused on your work, let's say, and your sexy coworker's he's just like a guy who's like a bit intense. He's always kind of saying what he feels, and you kind of, like sometimes a bit inappropriate, sometimes a bit over the line. Okay, but he's good company. He's pretty funny. He's got like a fun, dark sense of humor that's always good on the operating table when you're saving someone's life. And this goes on for a while. Eventually, it happens in the medical profession, but you get reassigned somewhere else.
Away from.
Yeah, away from, you know how this goes. It's best not to get too attached. You're never gonna see him again. It's fine. Just keep your focus on your work. Now, you assumed that your sexy coworker had the same professional, detached, realistic perspective on the situation as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Both gone your separate ways. It's just part of the job. What we had was good, but it's gone now, and it might never come back, and that's just part of it.
Yeah, we're professionals.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a surprise when you next encounter your lookalike friend, and you realize that he's maybe taken your departure with a bit more force than you ever expected, and certainly you intended it to be. And he's now kind of carving people up for fun. He says there's a good reason for it, but his skills are not going to the application in which they were honed.
Also, your new boyfriend just randomly cut his arms off.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. Brought in the wrong boyfriend there. Yeah, you turn up with this new guy, and one thing leads to another, and you cut off his hands, his beautiful hands, and then you start wearing them.
Oh, this is a Transformers thing. So
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah. But you don't think he would mind?
Well, we're professionals. Sometimes if someone needs some hands and you've gone evil and Drift cuts them off, you can use your hands. Transformers culture is weird that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of water under the bridge, right? We'll all laugh about it someday in a group text. However, next time you see this guy, he delights in the opportunity to knock you unconscious.
Whoops.
And when you are completely under his power, he performs some sophisticated surgery upon you. He's got some new friends who don't treat him well, but certainly let him have some great new toys. And when you wake up, he's there, and he's clearly not forgotten anything. That water's not under the bridge. What you thought was a bridge was a dam. And he delights in telling you that not only are you completely within his power, still alive, but the reason why you can't move your arms and legs is because he has removed them. And the reason why you're feeling a bit kind of light-headed and dizzy is because he has reduced you to a head and a spinal cord and a heart. And what's left, and he has reconstructed the rest of you, turned into an ambulance in a little box.
Oh, what is in the box, Tom?
You're in the box, Ratchet. You're in the box. The whole of you. I've took you all apart just to show you that I care and that I'm a good doctor. And you left me, and then you took off my hands. But I don't mind. I got better hands now. These hands are my new relationship. I don't know. It's a bit muddled, but there's a lot of emotions.
You gotta imagine be impressed by Father's skills, because
Yeah.
I a few weeks ago built the Lego DB5, which that's a big Lego kit, and the Aston Martin DB5.
Oh, that is a car. Okay.
And that's a big kit. And I realised when I couldn't get the ejector seat to work that I put one piece wrong, so I had to take bits out to get one little piece in the middle. Couldn't quite get it back together in the same way again afterwards. So I had to take out the head of the spine neatly and turn him into a car. You know, he would be a Lego master farmer. If you ever want someone to build your Lego for you, call him a farmer. He will. Or if you've got a bit of your Lego wrong and you want somebody to take a bit out, but he's a man. That's the guy, because he does it with chainsaw hands as well.
With chainsaw hands, and he reverses the procedure in almost no time at all. I don't know what he's on. He must be on some super meth to do that.
All the best doctors are.
Yeah. Then not only has he gone to absurd lengths just to get your attention through extreme surgery on your unwilling self, he then picks one person. You're not even that close to this guy, actually, but he picks someone else who you now work with, your new colleague, and then cuts him in half.
Is it lengthways?
He cuts him in half, yes. Lengthways, not the easy horizontal way. Not the like, I could pull most of these apart horizontally. No problem. No problem for a transformer. They don't have guts, do they? They don't have guts.
No, they've got ball joints.
Yeah, they've got spines, but the spines don't seem to matter. I don't know how the spines work the transformation, frankly. But anyway, yeah. So he just takes your colleague and just like, hey, dead now, and then drives off. Just drives away. I think he's a jet or flies. Yeah.
How rude.
Rudest man in Transformers, frankly, Farmer. No boundaries, no sense of decorum. Everything's about him, you know?
He's having a confused time of it. He's got a god living in his head, messing him up and confusing him.
Doesn't that happen? Does that happen?
It happens a bit later. However, okay, look, hear me out. Your ex, who is clearly better than you, but you don't want to admit it, because he's chief medical officer, right? And you're not. has moved on in life and has some really cool friends. And also a new boyfriend. What the hell? And his new boyfriend is a hottie. Okay? You orchestrate this whole thing to bring you to his attention because you're stuck in the middle of bloody nowhere, babysitting bloody Decepticons and having to deal with a DJD and nobody's coming to help you, right? And you're like, Ratchet, for the love of God, please come over here and save me from this hell. Come over, sweep down and kill town for me, and let's go away together.
You could do it.
And I know I've killed some people, but I did it out of need, okay? And all I need is you to be here, and I will see the light again. And he turns up, and he brings his goddamn boyfriend.
This twink.
This ridiculously hot piece of metal, right? And just shoves him in your face. And you're like, fuck you. I will infect you with the plague. And I will skip this place. And I will be victorious. And your boyfriend's gonna fucking die.
Marian's turn.
And then, just when you're about to get away, you get infected. And then hot piece of metal jumps out of fucking nowhere out of pure love for you. No, not you, but you know, Ratchet.
One of these.
And chops your fucking heads off, and you fall into the fucking void and left for dead. And they're off celebrating.
They don't come look for you. They don't even come to look for you.
They just dance on your grave, man. And then, can you blame them for wanting to rip the spine off their ex, right? And just take their spark out and their, can you, I ask you, who would blame you if this had happened to you? Who? And this is how you reacted. I just think we should hear him out, is all.
I mean, I guess Farmer does do that while he's hanging out with the literal God of Justice.
He's got justice on his side.
He's got justice on his side.
Because if there's one thing we have learned this last few weeks, it's that supreme justice is good, worthy people who always do the right thing.
Yeah.
Or are on the side of equality and human rights for all beings.
What do you think Amy Barrett would turn into if she was a Transformer judge?
Oh God, what's the most useless transformer? Something just use a prop up your competent.
There, use Rung's name in vain.
Who's propping up Rodimus on the Lost Lights to the skipping power? No, I'm not comparing it to Drift. No.
That's definitely who he is. Who it is.
That's something you said, Tom. Marian will come for you now.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no animal loathsome enough I can think of, like a centipede. But then, centipede's pretty cool.
Fucking cockroach, man.
I like
fucking cockroach. No,
I think cockroaches are really sweet.
Yeah, side with the fucking cockroaches.
So sweet though. They're like a little twiddly, their little hand, little antenna. They're talking to each other, and you can smell them talk to each other.
So I'm just thinking of people who might be listening to this even next week.
Yeah.
After the election is supposed to have happened.
Oh, God,
who would have sat there laughing at us and our naivety of mocking the supreme justice court thing. But like, I remember those days when that was one of the things we were worried about before the war started.
Before cockroaches took over the fucking planet.
With the help of traitor Tom McNally.
I bet Unicron really envies us right now. Becoming one with the void.
But yeah, that's what she basically is. She's just a great big empty void.
Right, yeah. So you kind of transform into like nothingness. That'd be cool. They should do that. They should
Transforming into nothingness.
Yeah, that'd be a good toy.
It would be. It would. I'm not sure about it.
Okay.
Well, that's suddenly got very serious in real world, hasn't it?
How about
Yeah.
some silly childhood fears now?
Silly
I think that's what we need. Let me.
I mean, I say silly. I'm so sorry, everyone. I know these were very important moments to you, but I think even you realize a lot of you wrote this and went, I know it's nothing, but this really scared me at the time. But what I thought was really interesting about these submissions was how many people were our age. How many people were clearly much younger? So the majority of you seem to be our age because your childhood scares were generation 1. But we've really had a mix of them. So we've had Beast Wars, we've had Energon even, we've had Prime, we've got Transformers Animated, we've even had Bayverse things. Ravager's Death in Bayverse, what's that all about, Stuart? You're our expert.
That is the moment that was famously ripped off in The Dial of the Light, where Ravage is grabbed and just pulled in two with his spine, Tom's favourite thing, his spine laid out as well, by Bumblebee, if I remember correctly. He's
Like
Ravage.
in Modern Then.
Yeah, basically, I'm sure that if James has made it this far, he'll love that comparison. But yeah, it's basically exactly the same. If you're going to kill Ravage,
Off the movies, that's what happened.
he has two things on his bedside table: a Red Dwarf novel and a copy of Revenge of the Fallen. Nothing else.
It's like something that in the police report.
It's a Revenge of the Fallen novelisation. It's 2 books.
Oh wow!
He reads them both. A chapter every night, alternating.
So wait, what are we doing? We're running through the moments that especially scare people. Oh right, I see. We are doing that. Ravage's death in Bayverse. Right.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go through everything, but
So,
there are a few worth noting. So a lot of you have been clearly traumatized by Optimus Prime both dying and coming back to life. He can't win, like
Just like Dad.
Here's one I want to ask you two about, because I haven't seen much of Transformers Animated. What are the space particles all about? What's so terrifying about space particles?
I remember there being space barnacles, but I don't remember why they are notable in any way.
Well, there's like infectious, aren't they?
Oh,
They're like COVID.
Oh, like a leprosy COVID kind of.
They infect you.
3% death rate.
let's see. Alpha Q again. Alpha Q is everywhere.
Alpha
Specifically
Q.
the comic as well, not even the cartoon.
Yeah, I don't understand this because Alpha Q is not in that comic. Like two
right
panels,
in if you listen.
quite poorly drawn and really uninteresting design. Doesn't even really say anything. Just kind of going blah 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 blah. Blah, blah. So you're wrong.
If you've made it this far after the first time, Tom said you made a terrible selection.
Yeah.
Tell us what it is about Alpha Q.
You've personally offended me. We have Pterosaur and Scorponok falling into the lava in Beast Wars Aftermath.
Oh, that's funny though.
That's a comedy death.
I'm going to go in after. But the one on here I would have gone for, maybe my worst moment, is Night Sick in Dry Run, where
Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this screen.
Wow, do you have it there, Tom?
Yeah, now we can see.
Share the spreadsheet.
Now we're all.
But that's got all our secrets on it, Tom.
No, just this bit.
Oh.
And my whatever. But no, it's fine.
What does that say on the? Everybody's reading your tabs now. They're gonna. Yeah, the one that would have got me is Night Sick in Dry Run, which is a comic by Guardians of the Galaxy creator Dan Abnett. of all people, where it's Megatron versus Cyclonus and Scourge, and as they're battling each other, Megatron grabs Cyclonus's target master companion, who's a little man. He's not human, but he basically is. He's a humanoid alien, and he just crushes him to death on panel with a funny, horribly violent sound effect, which I think is the only on-panel humanoid death in the entire comic, and it's because he's wearing a little metal suit that makes him look like a robot, but lets him get away with doing that. The sound makes it he's basically pushing a human to pulp on panel, and is Matt you drawing? I mean, I guess he is. That's what it looks like, viewers. And then he rips off Cyclonus's head as well, which it's all. That's my favourite of the ones on there.
That's a real farmer level kind of dedication to humiliation and injury.
That's a canny. You are the Jeff Anderson of this podcast, Tom.
There you go. All right, what's next? Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, God.
See, Marian came prepared.
Yeah. So, there's clearly a few of you traumatized by the movie. And Transmutate. One of you was very traumatized by Transmutate, so much so that you submitted that 4 times.
Yeah, over the course of several hours, I kind of want to know what you're trying to tell us about Transmutate and your relationship with Transmutate. But, you know, you do you. Let's draw a stupid Transmutate.
Wow.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, that's what else we got on here. So we haven't already mentioned. The Spiders Web, Return of Optimus Prime. So that's an interesting choice. But if you don't like spiders, we've already had some tarantulas moments. So clearly there's some arachnophobes. The VHS of Starscream's Ghosts. Specifically the VHS.
It's a grain. It adds a certain something. But this is the only time we've had the Transformers Animated actually mentioned. It's only on this list.
Is this what Transmutate looks like?
A little bit like him, yeah. Yeah.
God, that's
Yeah. That's very close, actually.
This weird, awkward looking, horrible thing.
So there you go, IDW. Get on to Tom McNally for a cover for your Beast Wars comics.
No, I hear you don't pay anyone anything. Jerks.
Maybe they should pay you for just like a one-off Transmutate spotlight.
Yeah. I'll do it. Don't even like Transmutate.
Somebody really does.
I'll make Transmutate a sex criminal. Just to spite everyone.
I think all the rest are things we have mentioned already. So,
more or less, yeah.
So I think that leaves us with one last category to talk about.
But this is a secret one. We have a countdown coming.
Oh boy, to the election.
Like there's going to be an election, Tom. So give us a countdown.
Hang on, Tom's still drawing.
No.
Okay, wait, I can...
Oh, no, we can't exit this until he's concluded.
No, wait. I've got too many Transformers around the place. I can't move. Wait. Okay. When you think about this, I want the mouse. And with the mouse, I want to go character.
Hey.
Now we see everything. Okay, all right.
Oh, no!
I did it very slowly.
No, what are you doing?
Now we do a countdown.
He's the worst.
I am.
Okay, so we kind of know what's coming now. It's Tom
Well, if you have paused, you suck. All right? you've ruined it, and you only have yourself to blame. Just saying.
Yeah.
So it's voted by you the scariest characters in all of Transformers. So shall we burn through the ones that just got one vote pretty quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Mentions.
honourable mentions, the one vote people are Tarantulas, Shockwave, Prowl, IDW, Farmer, Laserbeak, Movie, Galvatron, Marvel, Circuit Smasher, that's got to be a joke one. That's got to be a, oh, I'm a wacky,
Who
funny
is
person.
Circuit Smasher? Somebody tell me.
Oh, miss. It's a copyright dodgy way of writing Circuit Breaker into the IDW.
Wasn't it Spike or something?
Spike became Circuit Breaker under a new name.
Breaker. Yeah.
It was completely needless. Nobody cared, and it looked terrible. So I'm assuming that's. If you were genuinely traumatized by Circuit Smasher, I'm so sorry. You're not meaning to mock anybody's answers.
But you know, I wish I had your life.
But don't we all? Bombshell, Mega Ratchet, Megatron, IDW. Oh, before. Oh no, how easily people followed him and was forgiven.
Wait, what?
Scary.
What? You've jumped onto the main countdown.
Oh, sorry, yes. Oh, okay. That was right. Yes, okay, ignore me. I stopped at Bombshell.
Okay.
This is stressful. Oh my god. Okay.
Circuit Smash is stressful.
This is the world's weirdest countdown. We start at number 6.
6.
With Megatron!
Hey, look at that guy.
Although we are cheating
Oh.
because you've actually mentioned 3 different Megatrons. One of them is Beast Wars Megatron. One of them is Mega Ratchet, which we've already talked about. And the other one is IW Megatron. And this is notable because what you said is IW Megatron is scary because of how easily he got people to believe in him and follow him. And this is 1,000% correct. That is very scary. And even though we all love him, I say all, me, and think he's the best thing ever to has happened to Transformers. Not Autobot Megatron, he can fuck off. But actual real Megatron, we do appreciate he's an exceptionally scary character and nobody who you would ever want to come across in real life. But look how pretty.
He's a handsome lad.
I see the smoke coming off Umar's head now. I made it sparks. But
and then we jump on to another sort of cheat because this is a merge of a few different into one. And this is again something we have already mentioned, Tom.
Yeah, my favorites. Right, over here. Yeah.
Quintessons!
Not this guy. This guy's ugly.
How shit are we? None of us have the Quintesson figure that's just come out.
Yeah, I want that judge thing.
We all want him. None of us have him. This sucks.
I've got a Shocticon around here somewhere, but they're not Quintessons, apparently.
I've got to take it to the Quintesson court for the adjudication on that, whether they count.
Oh, no. Wait. Don't, because they have weird ideas about how justice works.
But Alpha Q is on this list again, so I guess, was that all the same person, or is there just different people voting for Alpha Q in different categories?
So, I don't know. Do you think in the world of Energon there's like normal, proper looking Quintessons, and Alpha Q is just this idiot, just this hipster who looks weird?
Wait, this is where I started choking earlier.
Oh yeah. I wanted what were you gonna say?
He says you only see the shell. The core of Unicron remains the most potent force in this or any other universe.
Oh, you see only the shell.
So we keep judging him on appearance, and he's saying...
Which we shouldn't do anyway.
You're so...
He's talking about his potency.
Yeah.
Okay. So Unicron has got it all figured out.
Oh yeah, now I feel bad for mocking him now for you.
But he's also talking about new hyper modes.
Right.
So maybe he's got a difficulty of some sort. A pretty sorry specimen. Just as well, our master, in his infinite wisdom, sees fit to bestow upon you new hyper modes. No, this guy's not all there.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
sure.
not. He's had a car crash or something.
Not sure about him at all. Him, her? Is it her?
Yeah. We're sorry.
We've definitely got one person who's never going to vote again in any polls.
Good. All right, who's next?
Well, you need to come out of screen sharing mode.
Hang on. Next. Oh, we've done this one as well.
Hey, it's our friend!
Destroyer worlds! Devour worlds!
Whoa!
Megatron!
Yay!
Number 4 on the countdown.
Wow!
You obviously think Unicron's pretty damn scary.
Well, you know.
I mean, he killed Primus.
Killed Primus.
That's what you do
What a dude!
when you end in your comic. You kill Primus.
I mean, he kills continuities, more importantly. Like, Unicron turns up and you're like, oh, that's the end of the book then.
Where do we go from here?
As I don't like. Thankfully, IDW didn't do it, but I don't like the sort of Furman Dreamwave era idea, but there is only one Unicron.
Oh, yeah, no one likes
travels between all the different continuities.
Who could possibly like that idea?
But plus, we only ever see him lose. When does he ever win? When did he ever get out of the Marvel universe when they keep defeating him? So I'm not a particular fan of that. But,
yeah, show me one fan of that idea. Show me one of them.
He does have a high kill rate, though.
Killed Apeface.
Oh.
No one else has ever done that.
He killed Megatron. Well, he
Unicron
transformed him into Galvatron, but...
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you really only have seen the first 2 minutes of Transformers movie, haven't you, Thomas? I
guess he did kill him.
That's a whole hour that will blow your mind. After.
He turned Megatron into Spock.
Oh, yes, that's... Leonard Nimoy gives the best performance in that film by a mile, I think. But
oh, he is very enjoyable. He's just also so absolute. You're like, I don't know what to do with this thing I'm being presented with. It's just, I don't know. He's even like, which is why I guess IDW ended up treating him as more of a construct, or he's not really actually a thing in his own right. He's a dude inside of him, piloting him.
Who just needs a hug.
Who just needs literally a fucking hug to forget all the genocide and...
But we forgave Megatron, yeah, and maybe we can forgive Needs a Hug Man. I mean, he's stuck in a black hole with John Barber as Optimus Prime the rest of the time, so maybe that's punishment enough.
Actually, hang on, who's forgiving who there? Surely Unicron should be forgiving Optimus Prime for all the colonialism.
Surely, yeah. But I mean, we as the reader forgive Megatron because he's hot.
Yeah.
We don't forgive Unicron guy because he's not.
No, he's ugly. No, I mean, he's a little hot, but big Unicron isn't.
I'm worried about Marian's hotness-based legal defense systems. I'm going to be screwed if I ever go to court for anything now.
Look, do not quote me, okay? Just saying. Speaking of hot guys,
hey.
we're on our top 3, and on the second place we have a tie, friends.
Ooh.
Tie between 2 equally quite horrible people. First, we have Sander, who has come up earlier in this podcast about 5 hours ago. So a lot of you clearly find Sander quite scary, and I can't blame you. He's quite a horrifying guy. But he's a code number 2 is somebody who hasn't actually come up all this time. Tan!
Good old Tan.
He has not, the DJD in fact have not come up in anyone's scariest moments. They have come up in honorable mentions. But you guys, this guy has dead bodies hanging on his wall as first edition manuscripts. He drinks the blood of innocents from centuries ago. He ran concentration camps. He speaks people to death. And he used to be in Optimus Prime's good guy club. He's awful.
But
Nobody ever gave him a hug. That was a problem there.
well, yeah, you know, he's too try hard to be scary. I think. You know, he's. I think there's a reason the DJD aren't getting the top spots, except in the honorable mentions. You know, they're trying too hard.
Do you reckon? Is it also because they do find ultimately a horrible death? Which isn't actually that horrible.
No, it's quick.
Yeah.
Merciful, if anything.
They didn't deserve that quick enough.
No. Yeah, a ridiculous trial where they get put in charge of a battleship. That would have been. That's what they deserve.
That's a solution to every problem.
Yeah, battleship. Yes, they certainly do a lot of horrible things, and they really put a lot of effort into being scary. But I don't know. I feel like you got to be cool to be super scary. You gotta just be tossing it off. You're just gonna be like throwing it out there. I don't even care. Oh, scared, horror. I don't know.
Is there something there around the fact that they became cute when what's her face?
Nickel
Turned up, and then it was all, oh, look at these cuddly guys and the cute female psychic that's just.
They're just. They're kind of.
They're just all lovable killers that kill each other, actually, and keep a pet that's like somebody who they've tortured and lobotomized and just keep in chains. But he's so cute. Look at him.
These guys. Whoa. Yeah, I guess they're sort of dangerous in the way that like Freddy Krueger is dangerous. Like he's killed a lot of people in pretty horrible ways, but he's like cackling. He's having a ball.
He wears a lovely sweater.
Yeah, he's got a look. He's got a vibe. He's just a pedophile, you know. Yeah,
like, but look, he's so lovely.
And Tarn throws a disco, you know. He has a fun concentration camp. He'll put you into light and fashion rooms and music, and have a hot time with the old town tonight.
And he treats kids to whatever it is that he treats him to. Maybe I'm getting my fanfics confused.
Massage.
I did. Yeah, I think I know which fanfic. I would just got confused that you don't want to go there.
Okay. So, who's our number one scary person?
And are there any fanfics about them? That's my 2 questions.
Who would have thought this would be the number one scariest character?
Stunned silence.
Hey!
It's Overlord!
Overlord.
It's massive fucking psychotic.
It's very large, that toy, isn't it? Jeez.
Crazy about his ex. Pipes. Smasher. I will kill Megatron first. Except when I'm dressing up as a woman politician and hanging out with spiders. and a little girl. Well, she's not a little girl at that point at all, is she? Actually,
her
and a
30s
woman
now.
comes across and splits me in two.
No.
And throws me in different sides of the space-time continuum. Well, half me is at the beginning of time and half me is at the end of time, and fucking hell, man, he made his end proper.
I'm disappointed you didn't actually grip the toy in two there.
Yeah, I always thought that was coming too. Whoa!
I'm sorry, he's a rather expensive toy, so no.
Oh, okay.
I should have got my cheap ass Hasbro Overlord. Nobody cares if he gets damage.
Overlord!
He's scary because he don't give a shit. That's why.
He's unpredictable, isn't he? Like, he's very single-minded, but at the same time, you don't know when he's gonna snap at you. Like, you know what he wants, but you don't know how he's gonna get to it. Like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna decide to take over some random prison on a planet and kill all the inhabitants and like make everyone else fight each other? Like there's some kind of like gladiatorial arena, and then just rips people's faces off and he uses other people's brains as lockpicks and just uses chainsaws to cut their insides out, and you just don't know what he's gonna do next.
He's got a bag of tricks, which is seemingly endless, and he's good value with them all.
He is also a lovely toy. I highly recommend him.
Is that the Carnifex?
Carnifex.
Yeah, we are now we're sponsored by Nick Roach and we're sponsored by MMC.
Oh damn! When is that run coming out?
We have a rank toy coming out, you guys. I mean, there's already a rank toy, but he really doesn't count, does he? I mean, he was
good enough for a while.
he was cute. It was nice to have him officially recognized, but like, no, I want the new one.
Well, I think the Siege one has now been sullied by all these fictional tie-in appearances, being about Energon enemas. So we need proper original IDW one who was never given anyone an enema in his life, I would imagine. So he was a bad psychiatrist, so you can't be sure.
Yeah,
He did some unorthodox procedures, but I like to think that he never did.
I don't think it was beyond him.
Yeah, got controversial. Maybe he's a really scariest Transformer.
Oh, right, yeah.
A psychiatrist who just will randomly enema you.
I want to share some of the comments about Overlord, right?
Yep.
Which were, Overlord, that man is not well. IDW Overlord, you have met him, right? And, excuse me, let me move this screen out of the way. Overlord, insanely powerful psychopath who loves being cruel for the sake of it.
Oh.
It's just, you guys clearly love him.
Yeah. I mean, most people are only cruel for money or power. But yeah, Overlord wants to be cruel.
Who do you think is your personal scariest character?
Who, me?
You and that shit.
Who am I scared of? I'm looking around all these objects and trying to figure which ones scare me. Okay. Chrome Dome.
That's a good choice, actually. That's very solid.
Yeah, Chrome Dome has the respect of many. Chrome Dome has the legitimacy of the state. Chrome Dome has friends who support him. Chrome Dome is a career lobotomist and cop.
Yeah.
And receives no punishment, no comeuppance for the Mengelian chief. And isn't really even... I mean, he's sort of sad about it, but like, dude, he did some... This is like this is Nuremberg level shenanigans here. And are we supposed to be sad for you because you like blew up your husband? Is that the deal, Chrome Dome?
But he's such a tormented soul. Can't get over the things he's done. And
well, those are the most dangerous people.
He's a Jack Bauer of Transformers. He does all these terrible interrogations.
only
I feel sad about it afterwards.
not even like Jack Bauer. He's worse than Jack Bauer because he does it on the sly.
Yeah. And he gets off on it as well. It's like this drugs kind of analog. Where it's like, just one more, once you started, it's a bit moreish,
He wipes his own memory, man.
Yeah. High on his own supply, dude.
Yeah.
He's got the man is not well.
Yeah, I am with you on this one. Stuart, how about you?
I think Overlord was a very strong choice for number one. I think partly as well because he had very few appearances and they're all written by the same two people, so there's a consistency there that really helps. I like to say poor old Megatron, who every single writer who wrote Megatron writes a completely different version of Megatron over the years at IDW. But there's one Overlord, and he's just one mean, terrible, awful guy. But if I were to pick one that's not on the list, I would say, I want to be controversial like Tom. I want to say like Optimus Prime because he was a cop, something like that. Yeah, sick to a man.
I mean, he yields a lot of power.
That's what they're saying. His own comic was mainly trying to beat us over the head with. But yeah, I like Galvatron. Of the G1 variants in both the film and the comics, and even a little bit of a cartoon. He doesn't have quite as good a voice, but I think he's probably my personal favourite. Big, scary, purple guy. And we've done something to Tom. Oh no, they've come for him!
Oh no, what's happening? We're all trying to vanish.
And he's the one in charge of this call as well. So he's the only one who can end it. So we're stuck here till he returns.
Well, I'll tell you what, my own personal horror stories, we're not going to wrap this up by 9 o'clock, which is when Waitrose closes. So let's get to it. Tom or no Tom?
All right, we have to do it without him. Well, the two of us for now.
Well, this.
Oh
no, he's back. They didn't get you. What happened? Tom, I need to get to Waitrose before 9.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up.
Right. Sorry, I had to piss.
Well, you couldn't wait 2 minutes.
No, I really couldn't. It was really getting quite upsetting.
I'm drinking wine all evening. What's going on?
Well, anyway, let's stop taking a piss.
This has been an exceptional evening of piss taking.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good to go through your answers about Transformers Scariest Moments. I think as we've established, Transformers is pretty gory, man. Which we did know, but it's like getting it all together. It's like, and it's not just gory. There's like different elements of it. There's definitely a lot of space horror there. Body horror, definitely. But also a fair bit of mind horror, I would say.
Yeah.
Eyeballs. Very popular. Faces. Pits.
Yeah.
It's we can probably get some Rungian analysis on all of this. And then give it an enema.
Psychiatrist, man. There was too much to choose from.
No.
But we hope in these troubled times you're having a decent Halloween out there. If you're watching it on the day, you're living in the rubble well if you're watching it in the future. But we will return again at some point soon.
I will be dead by the time you watch this.
Wow, that'll be... If we are all dead by the time this goes out, that'll be freak people out that bit.
Remember us fondly.
Remember us how we were.
Oh, yes, in a suffocating, unofficial Daniel Craig cosplay mask. That's
That's going to carve that into your gravestone. This is what he was. This is how we're honouring his memory.
Tom is just a pumpkin.
Yeah.
That says Tom on it.
So we know. On a that note, gentle listener, to go and put a little candle in your pumpkins. And goodbye, everybody.
Happy Halloween!
I don't know. Can we put the theme music on the video? I don't know.
No.